guys, welcome back to college tutorials of C++. Today we have my dad, who's probably going to be screaming at the top of his lungs the entire video. Disclaimer, he's a good parent. So.
Thank you. Thank you for the disclaimer.
Okay, so what are we doing today?
We are doing functions that return types and take in arguments.
Okay, we should start. So, if we're gonna start in a function, we know how to do that. We name it void, and then the name of the function, we should name it breakfast.
Fast, not fest.
Thank you, Dad, for the spelling. You are the best dad anyone could ever ask for.
You are laying on the the sarcasm. Little thick, Colin.
Thank you, Dad.
Alright.
So,
maybe you should tell your people what you're writing.
So, today, did you say what we were writing?
No, we just said we're writing functions.
So, today we're going to be writing more functions. And also, we're going to be doing some booleans, because I forgot to do that last video.
What is the goal of the function, of the program you're trying to write?
The goal is to make a simple breakfast, lunch, and dinner function.
Okay, great.
Now let's begin.
That's good.
Okay, so first we write.
We want to get the input from the user, so we should warn them what we're going to do. And we should, yeah. Let's create, because we're going to be asking for a string. Feast. Good. So that's your variable.
We put a semicolon. Remember, kids, don't do drugs and put semicolons at the end of most of programming lines.
Okay. Now we need to we're going to tell the user that we want to get their input. So let's do that. You would ask them, what do you want for breakfast? So let's see out.
See out, and then, and remember, kids, always put at the end, L. We should write, what would you like for breakfast?
Fast. I am going to harp on this.
So, now we need to say what we want.
Yes. Now we need to get the input from the user. How do we do that if we want to read in a string, though? We can't just use cin, we have to use readline.
Which is going to have to include us to use this. We're going to have to create hashtag include, and then instead of IOStream, we're going to be doing
SStream? SStream. I think that's right. You know,
you bring up when you're done.
So right now, we're going to wait till my dad is done getting my mom paper towels. And remember, kids, never get parents. Okay, now let's start.
So we need to read line.
We need to get the read line, and then you get Riddlin.
And it needs two arguments. You need to know the stream you want to read from, which in this case is the cin, not break. It's versus the stream.
You want cin. Hold on, my mom must have gotten into trouble. We'll stop right here. Okay, we're back. Now let's continue. Is it correct?
So far, so good.
So now we need to do something.
Semicolon. What does this say? Underline. It says identify or read line is unidentified. Is it?
Hold on, guys. Alright. Okay, guys, we're back. You actually have to write get line. So now it should work. Not really. It's not gonna work. Don't do it. So, what else should we do now?
Well, now we have gotten the input from the user and stored it in the breakfast variable. Now we should do some logic on that. Some sort of an if then else, you know what I mean?
Okay, let's do that. Alright, if. So, now we need to know what they put down. So, let's say if breakfast is compared to eggs, and let's write C out. And then let's write good choice.
Sounds good, yeah. Else what?
Then else, let's write some curly brackets, and then C out. Make sure, kids, to add the end L. That means it'll be on a new level.
New line, yes.
So, let's continue. That was some good. That was some good. Then, breakfast.
Put a space after the word good.
Good catch, Dad.
Awesome. Alright.
So now, we can call the function.
Yes. No. There you go, capital B, breakfast.
Then, you have to write this, that, and then return 0.
That's right.
So what it's doing right here is returning the function. So, you should run this, and you should get, what would you like for breakfast? And if you write X, it'll say, good choice. You can't see the pop-up, but you know it worked.
Oh, you don't see the pop-up?
No, Dad. The screen recorder is absolute garbage and doesn't show more than one tab.
Oh, that's annoying.
Okay, now we should add a lunch function, because that would be good. So, as you said, we should get another function, void, and then we have to write lunch. Who doesn't love some good lunch?
So, do the same thing as before.
Let's write string. Make sure it says string. String, then lunch, except with a lowercase. Because if the computer sees that the function name and the function and the string are the same name, ho, you better run. So now, let's write C out and L, and then let's write what would you like for lunch?
Very good. Now let's get that input from the user.
So you have to write get line and then the same thing but with lunch instead of breakfast, because that's good. So kids, let's finish it. So we're gonna do something that's cool. If breakfast, I mean lunch.
Yes, if lunch equals what? Colin?
And we're going to be doing something cool, so make sure to add 2 of these and the signs.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the logic that you want to employ here, Colin.
So, if you wrote eggs for breakfast and you want eggs for lunch, we'll say no. That's too much eggs.
That's right. However, we don't know what they had for breakfast. The breakfast variable only exists in the breakfast function in the scope.
Yes.
So we need to know what they had for breakfast, but we can do that via parameters and return types.
Instead of it being void, we should change it to string. Not the string, the string. Don't mess up, because the computer will...
But you need to return something if you have a return type, correct?
Correct, Dad. So, you need to create a new string down here.
You also need to actually return it in the function.
Correct, Dad. So, you have to go down here, return.
You want to return
Just kidding.
breakfast.
So, you want to return. So, you go down to...
No, in the after else, right? Before you close the function, return breakfast.
Thank you, Dad.
New line. So what we're basically doing is we're saying we get the breakfast from the user, we do some check on it, and then we return it. But the great thing about that is that now we can create a variable that will store that breakfast.
So now you want to come down here and create a new string like we were before. We're going to name it breakfast. And make sure not to mess up with
Good, you're learning.
Let's name it breakfast storage.
Sure, that works.
And let's name it, and let's put in the equals.
You want to set that to the return value of the function breakfast. So you're going to say equals breakfast, the function, which you have on the next line. So all you have to really do is just bring that. Almost. You need to call the function, which means you need to invoke it with the parentheses. There you go.
So now we can get rid of this.
Yeah, sure can. Now we have the breakfast in a variable. The great thing about that is that now you can do things with that variable, like, for instance, pass it to other functions.
Yay! Let's do that. So now we write...
Well, we need to now include them in the parameters, in the arguments for the lunch function.
So, breakfast storage.
No. You need to include, because remember, breakfast storage is also in a different scope, right? Lunch only knows what you pass it, so you have to include it as an argument parameter. You go up to the lunch function, and then instead of parentheses being empty, include a string, and then breakfast, a variable that maintains what the user passes in for breakfast, spelled with an A and not with an E. Very good. Now we can do some logic on that breakfast variable. So let's say if they said lunch is eggs and now breakfast is eggs, correct? I believe that was what you wanted to do. Yeah, double equals for Now what do you want to do for lunch and breakfast? They both want eggs.
So, to make sure you don't have eggs for two eatings.
Meals. Eatings? Eatings.
You should write C out and then breakfast. Just kidding. Ha ha ha. And L and then that's too much eggs. Have this orange juice with cereal.
Very good. Now this is a line of code, so how do you end a line of code?
You have to end it with a semicolon.
That's right. Now, what if they added anything else for lunch? Now we have, what if it's, well, what would you like to do in the else function, or in the else clause?
So, else, we could write that was soon.
Good. And then the lunch, whatever you pass in for lunch. There you go. But you need to put a semicolon at the end. This is a new line of code. Perfect. So now we're feeding in what we had for breakfast into the lunch function so that we can protect the user from eating too many eggs and jacking up their cholesterol. Right, Colin? Isn't that your worry here?
Mm-hmm. Very much.
But we need to call lunch in the main function.
So, we
So
have
after
to go
breakfast,
down.
yeah.
We have to write in here string.
No, we don't return lunch. We can just call it.
Then we call lunch.
After breakfast, though. There you go. That's right. But we need it, and what do we have? It needs an argument. What's the argument we want to pass it?
We want the argument breakfast.
Storage. That's exactly right. There you go. So let's try running it.
You can't see it, but we can.
We really got to figure out how to get that to record that too.
Colin doesn't feel like downloading Bandicam, so he won't do that.
So we just watch a blank screen while you talk about what you see.
So, if you write eggs in breakfast, you can get good choice. But if you write eggs again, it's too much eggs. How is orange juice with cereal? Isn't that awesome?
But what if you were to say for breakfast you have ham, and then for lunch you have eggs? What should we see?
Let's do that. Let's say we have ham.
Ham.
And then let's have some eggs.
That was some good eggs. Forgot that space. But that's okay.
Because it worked.
It does work. Perfect. And we could, if we wanted to, do a dinner as well. Do you want to do that, or we think that that's more than proving our point?
This is proving our point.
Awesome.
So, kids, long story short, nothing happened today.
What do you think of nothing? That was good. We learned how to write functions that take in other parameters and return different types.
Guess what, kids? We aren't done.
We're not done.
No.
What else do we have to do?
Booleans!
Okay, well that's pretty good because we do have Booleans, sort of implicitly. When you do lunch equals eggs and breakfast equals eggs, those are two Boolean checks.
Good job, Dad.
But would you like a Boolean variables? Is that what you'd like to see?
Yes.
Okay, then why don't we try that?
So kids, Colin the other day was being a big dum-dum and forgot to teach you about Booleans. Because he completely forgot.
What's a Boolean, Cole?
A Boolean has two statements. False and true. So I'll give you an example with a while loop.
Oh, Lord. You're really into this while loop, huh?
Yeah, so let's say our Boolean name is good morning.
Okay, you should give it a default value.
And the default value is going to be true.
True. Okay, great.
So, let's write a
Yeah,
while.
you forgot your semicolon.
Let's
There you
write a while loop now. So while, let's say while good morning is equal to true.
That's setting it. You want equals equals.
Thank you, Dad, because we're comparing.
That's right.
So while good morning is equal to true, we should get some of these boys, and then write C out, then write it, it worked. So, let's try it.
So, if I may, what do you think will happen here, Colin?
So, if you run it, the word "it worked" will go on forever.
That's correct.
But we don't want that, so let's just write the word break with a semicolon inside the while loop.
There's another way to make it break too.
Yes, there is.
There is. You could set good morning to false, and then it would break the loop as well.
True.
Why don't we just do that? Well,
Okay.
let's run. No, let's run what you got. This is a good idea. Break is important. Break will break you out of a current loop.
So, you see that it worked. Unless you didn't follow along, you have to restart.
Can I come down?
Oh! Look at that! Mother's down here.
Mother?
Turn it off so I can get by.
It's an Anne of Green Gables. No one says a mother is coming downstairs. Not Mike Pence.
Okay, so let's...
We are no longer muted.
So, I hope you learned something today about Booleans, whatever that just was.
Untimely interruption. No, but that's a good. While loops are important. The key to a while loop, though, is that you need to be able to break out of a while loop, or else you will be running forever. We don't want that.
So, kids, I'll see you later on part 4 of C++ tutorials.
There's another one.
Say goodbye.
Goodbye, kids.
Bye.